And RCB fans world over, well, they'll know one thing. They might live to fight another day because that was done and dusted earlier. But the 2 points today could have really put them in good stead heading into that IPL 2021 playoffs. And Mark Butcher, unfortunately, called wrong before this game. I mean, he predicted RCB to come up trumps. So did I. I just look really glum right now. You can just look that I wiped the tears off my face. But go on, Mark. What do you have to say about this game?
Matt, you know what? I hope that isn't a portent for things to come come eliminator week, because it's a game that RCB were favourites to win. 142 as a run chase, they should have won. They made some bizarre decisions in the run chase. Sending Dan Christian in at number 4, meaning that when Glenn Maxwell got to the crease, things were critical, and when ABD got to the crease, they're even more critical. AB de Villiers, and so you just think to yourself, well, if it comes down to a game which you should have in the bag against an opposition that have only won 2 matches all season, and you make that much of a mess of it, it doesn't look good for what might happen come the eliminator on the Wednesday, because obviously now RCB have got no chance of finishing in the top 2.
Yeah, unfortunately, that just goes and blows up in dust, really, and up in smoke. Let's, of course, talk about something that you kind of just hinted upon there, that Dan Christian coming in. It's an experiment which is now backfired twice. They had Shrikar Bharat, who's the Indian option, kind of getting in runs. That could have taken a toll on the Indians' confidence, and hence he was moved at 4. Now, we understand Glenn Maxwell has been brilliant for RCB, especially in the middle overs. Can they find a fix and a short-term fix heading into the playoffs at number 1, or is that Shrikar Bharat filling that role?
Well, I haven't. There's not been so much of a problem with that. I mean, if you have one guy that goes in at number 3 and is a little bit hit or miss, as long as they don't use up a lot of deliveries, it's not a massive problem. It's like if you have one opener who's misfiring, but the other guy's going great, and the rest of the top order are fine. But if you have 2 guys gunging up the works, when you've got a player of AB de Villiers' quality sat in the dugout, and you've got a player of Glenn Maxwell who's in terrific form, and yeah, they might have said about Glenn Maxwell, well, in all those years ago when he and David Miller were unbelievable for the Kings 11 Punjab, got them through to the final. It was middle overs, it was the back end of the innings. But at some point, you've got to have your big guys come in and take responsibility for a run chase, haven't you? I don't understand Dan Christian. When he's at his most effective, he comes in at the end with 5 overs to go and hits it out the park. I mean, that's what he's done as captain of Nottinghamshire. It's what he's done in the Big Bash. So I don't understand particularly. I mean, so somebody else will come up with the idea that it's worked at some point in his career, at some many moons ago that I've forgotten about. But in this lineup of RCB with the quality that they have at their disposal, it just seems daft to me.
They have Dan Christian in the setup because he's a lucky charm. Wherever he's gone and played T20 in franchise cricket, he's turned out to be a winner. And like you said, he comes down, hits a long ball, and he bowls critically. And I think it's the latter why RCB have got him, because even today, 2 for 14 in his 3 overs. It goes under the radar. Maybe he does him a little bit of disservice because we're just talking about that number 1 batting failure. But
the thing is, I'm not having a go at Dan Christian. I'm not. There's nothing wrong with Dan Christian being in the RCB lineup. It's brilliant.
Yeah, but who can fill that void?
Why are they using him in that role? Why doesn't AB de Villiers walk to the crease at 2 down?
Yeah,
why is AB de Villiers coming in at 6? 6.
I mean, I understand why they don't play him at 2 down. Because, Mark, I generally think that RCB, every time, it's Achilles' heel of losing Kohli and de Villiers and back-to-back, and then the game's just wound up. So I think they're folding AB de Villiers and playing him in the Dhoni mold. I don't know. Could be. Maxwell's kind of living up to that number 4 spot. You need someone. I mean, think about it. Even in the Indian leg, they played Patidar, they played Shrikar Bharat there, they played Shahbaz Ahmed there. It's quite a lot.
I'm talking in this game, chasing only 142,
Yeah.
right? And they've been brilliant in the tournament. They've got 16 points. They've qualified. It's not like they're struggling and they're trying to find a formula. They've got themselves into a qualification position, playing against a team who've won 2 matches, and have overthought it. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, when you take a look at, like you keep harping about the 142, was it par, below par? Because on a surface like Abu Dhabi, which is better than Sharjah and Dubai, you expect RCB's batting lineup to chase that down with, say, 2 overs in the bag?
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? You win. A win's a win. You either win or lose in T20 games, and unfortunately they lost.
Yeah, they fortunately lost, and you didn't lose, unfortunately, in the predictions because it was a stalemate between you and Criclytics, which does you actually really good in the grander scheme of things. And considering this is the last time that you're with us on the cricket.com platform, let me inform you and your fans that you've come away with a slender 13-11 win against the robot, and that's done you well, but so well done. We will put up a fake appreciation music tap right now for Mark Butcher, but we'll unravel those predictions because he went for the King Virat Kohli, who was sent back by Bhuvi with a nip backer, I think. And Criclytics went for Devdutt Padikkal. Now, we slacked him off after he scored a 50 ball 70 not too long ago. Today, it was a 52 ball 41. Talk to me about what he was trying to do.
Well, I mean, he was struggling to hit it off the square, wasn't he? I mean, and this is a young man who has all the potential in the world. A great ball striker. He obviously just found conditions very tough today, and you have days like that. I don't sort of.
But do you feel for him because he kept losing wickets at regular intervals, and he was trying to play the anchor role, but eventually he picked a ball which perhaps wasn't there to hit.
Well, potentially, but I also think in between the time of him trying to play the anchor role, when he did try to play a big shot or when he did try to find the boundary, invariably he didn't manage to find the middle of the bat. And you know that can happen. You don't always go out there and time the ball beautifully and send it sailing over the ropes, and that would be a nice lesson for him to learn. But having said that, he made it 41 of 52. And RCB still should have won. You know, it wasn't a match losing innings. They should have got over the line, being only one boundary short at the end. So you certainly don't park any blame at his door.
Yeah, and RCB, of course, especially with the mega auction coming up, you feel like Padikkal could have stamped his authority and made kind of a bid to get him retained by the franchise, but that's just me as a fan thinking out loud. Let's, of course, move on to the bowlers because you predicted George Garton. He performed all right. He kind of got a couple of overs which went for a lot, which, of course, doesn't do his figures any good. But Harshal Patel, I mean, he's just going from strength to strength. He's, in fact, 4 wickets now from taking the most wickets in an IPL ever, which is Dwayne Bravo's record, funnily enough, 32 wickets. Talk to me about this guy because he just is so innocuous, but he does it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of perhaps why he goes under the radar a little bit. I mean, another 3 for today. Maybe these surfaces suited his style of bowling a little bit towards the end, but you have to give him a lot of credit. You know, is he somebody that's ever going to go for sort of big bucks in auctions? No. Is he somebody that will do a good job in a bowling lineup that requires backup to the main guys? Then absolutely yes. And RCB have been very, very lucky to have him. And it's incredible that he's taken as many wickets as that. I hadn't realised he'd gone quite that well.
Let me play devil's advocate here because a couple of fans would say he's got his wickets because he bowls critical overs and they're not playing at the Chinnaswamy, so bigger grounds. Is that the case?
Yeah, possibly. But, you know, people are always looking for reasons to sort of to run down somebody's achievements. The guys, this might be a complete one-off. You know, it might be the only time that this ever happens for him in an IPL. But it doesn't make it bad. Let him enjoy it.
Yep, let him enjoy it indeed. I feel like this whole show has just been RCB centric. We apologize. I am certainly doing my role as an anchor being neutral, as you can see throughout the last 9 minutes or so. What are you talking about? But let's, of course, talk about SRH because they were eventual winners and they, of course, got egg on your face in terms of predictions and Criclytics as well because ultimately they stole the show. what impressed you most? I mean, people are talking about Omran Malik. Now, that's a name doing the circuit in terms of the fast bowlers. He's bowled the quickest ball, not just amongst Indians, but about anyone else in IPL 2021. Talk to me about him and what you've seen of him in this early stage of his career.
Yeah, I mean, it looks unbelievably promising, doesn't it? Exciting. Just 21 years of age, as you say, 1 for 21 tonight, and kept. It wasn't just that he bowled the odd ball above 150 Ks. It was he'd bowl whole overs where he was up at that sort of pace, and didn't really seem to suffer in terms of his accuracy either. So he's just what a magnificent find for Indian cricket, and there's another gem being unearthed from the from millions of people who were all desperate to find a piece of fame and fortune in the IPL. It's just another IPL success story, I suppose.
I mean, some of the boys in the commentary box were, of course, the bowlers, and hence they were kind of saying, he has such a great action and his rhythm looks good, resembling Waqar Yunus almost. Is that something that you batsmen find as well while watching young bowlers?
Yeah, I mean, there's an effortlessness about his pace, isn't there? He's not sort of busting a gut. It's rhythmical, and it's it's a little bit mesmerizing. I would say, I guess, as a batter, you would sort of say, well, he gives you a nice view of it. The action's quite nice, and you get to see it all the way around. But still, at that sort of speed, you've got to do something about it as well.
Absolutely. Right, so it's finally time to say goodbye to Mark Butcher. He's been an absolute brilliant guest on cricket.com. He's troubled the robot. We've hopefully not troubled him as much as we think we have. Mark, final words for us and the viewers watching this, because they've enjoyed you all right. At least the numbers say so.
Well, listen, I've enjoyed every second of it, Avanish, and especially on RCB nights, because seeing a grown man cry is always a vaguely amusing thing to me back in the UK. But no, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed cricket.com. I've enjoyed Crickalytics. I've enjoyed beating the computer. There's a human heart beats in the game of cricket forever. That's what I say. And I can't wait to do it again.
Brilliant. We'll hopefully have you back on sometime shortly, because there's so much cricket, guys. And let us know if you guys want to see Mark Butcher in which series, because the Ashes are, of course, coming up as well. And who knows, we could get Mark on for that. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us at cricket.com. And remember, guys, there's playoff time coming up. So Brian Charles Lara returns. And that is, of course, another bald and beautiful man on our screens. Until then, it's a goodbye from us.